The Carnivortex, the Carnivortex. How did I get sucked into this Carnivortex? The Carnivortex, the Carnivortex. How did I get sucked into this Carnivortex? Beef, butter, bacon, eggs, eat fatty meat. Sounds great! The Carnivortex, the Carnivortex. How did I get sucked into this Carnivortex? The Carnivortex, the Carnivortex. Just give it a shot and you'll be carnivore next.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Carnivortex. I'm your host, NoCarbBarb, and I, along with the HighFatCats, who are my managers, editors, and producers, bring you another episode of the Carnivortex. I am super excited today to have as my guest Coach Lisa Pickart. Lisa,
Hi,
how are
it's a pleasure to
you?
be here. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
I am really honored to have you as my guest. So I don't think that I can properly introduce you because you do so many things. I mean, you are a fantastic coach and you're working in healing humanity. And I believe you have your own program, LifeBack Systems. And so when you just explain all of those to everybody so I don't mess that up.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as far as how this all kind of came to be, it started let me just give you a quick nutshell of it, of the life. It's 47 years in the health and wellness industry. And I do mean in the industry, my first business partner is the founder of the fitness industry, period. So he's now passed on. That was where my passion started as far as helping other people. And then from there, I've had a huge life and a lot of trauma and a lot of good. But the one thing that I feel like always comes back to is we have to be strong, right? Like we just really have to focus on the future. And that can be really difficult for whether it's mental, physical, there's so many emotionals, there's so many different things there. But when I came to, and I never even was a YouTuber, like I never even understood what YouTube was. But years ago, my children wanted to be on YouTube and they would come on and they would do their nightly readings and scripture and all this kind of stuff. So then they grew up and that was a phase. They were over it and they moved to TikTok and there was this YouTube channel there. And then my husband passed away and I got remarried and I was having all kinds of medical issues, just unlimited, one after another thing that was being birthed in my body. And I was like, what is going on with this? I really never even focused on menopause, to be honest with you, because I had it, got pregnant, and then it was gone and I was still cycling. So there was no indication that I was in menopause, even though I was like 52, 55 years old. And then as we progressed along, it got worse and worse. Thyroid fell apart, all kinds of problems. So at 63, when Kenneth was diagnosed with liver cirrhosis, I just naturally, it's me to help, right? So I just dug in, went deep, and I did find a way to help either slow down and or stop the cirrhosis from killing him. Obviously, it was very aggressive. It was very, very far gone. They gave him 30 to 90 days. So that picture was very, like, we talk about being hopeless, right? Or we still have hope. And I'm like, look, you're breathing. I have hope. We're still going to, tackle this. And this, again, how strong are you, right? Like, where do you go with this? So pushing forward a little bit, we dug in and I went on YouTube and I honestly have no idea why, but I had been following Carrie from his Homestead How from years before because I was a vegan and had this huge 240 by 120 foot garden. And I also was off the grid. So we heated our home and he had built this wood burner thing. And I think he put the pipe underground, if I remember right. Anyways, long story short, I had found Carrie. And so when I went on to YouTube to start looking at who would be the scientific, non-paid for studies on reversal of liver cirrhosis or stopping it, and Carrie popped up. And I was just listening to his story. Literally, so he was talking about how I'm now carnivore, I overcame this, that. It was a healing journey. And I was like, okay, that's not really what I'm looking for, but I love Carrie, to this day. And then Dr. Chafee, it's like, how when you watch one thing, other things start popping up. Dr. Chafee came up and I was like, oh, this is a doctor. This is somebody who believes like I believe, even though he's got his license and all this stuff. I was like, okay, this is the direction I want to go. And of course it was plants are killing you. And Kenneth not being a very heavy drinker, occasional officer, whatever, I was like, it's plants that are killing you. And so I called the Liver Association and went from there. And from there, in 6 months' time, about 6 months, it started July. In September, there was improvement, but by January, they said this is not the same man. And during that time frame, I had contacted all kinds of different people in the Liver Association, the actual people who send out to the doctors, which was almost a closed door, but I did make my way in. And then from there, I just formulated LifeBack, and that was it. That's how this company got birthed. And it's funny that we should be talking about this because this morning, my daughter and I, who's now 21, living in Virginia, we were talking about being strong. And she was like, Mom, you're one of the strongest people I know. She's like, I see people that never get their life back after their husband or spouse passes or they lose a child or whatever. I said, yeah, honey, it's not easy. It's not. But I said, we have to have this understanding that surpasses our own understanding that there's still a purpose for us to be here. And anyways, long story short, we had a great chat about her being 21, me being 66, her being my youngest. I actually we were on FaceTime. I looked at her and I said, you know what I love? I love that you have the courage to be strong, because I feel like a lot of people today are afraid to be strong. They're just afraid of who they are. They don't even want to truly know. Instead, they kind of hide behind things. So I challenge everybody who's listening, step out front, and really discover how strong you are.
Wow. Well, yes. And that ties in beautifully with exactly what I wanted to talk about. Because, of course, so number one, I can't believe you are the age you are. You are absolutely beautiful
Thank you.
and strong, but your strength goes a lot further than your physical strength. And just thinking about not only carnivore community, but everybody at large, are we strong enough? Do we have what we need as far as strength goes? That's kind of what I wanted to talk about with you today, and just in all the different ways we can be strong. What do you really think about that?
I do believe that your strength belongs. I mean, there's the nutrition, right? So we're carnivores. We take in that daily nutrients that allows our mindset, our mitochondria, our hormones, our ATP, our liver, our gut, everything becomes strong because it has what it needs. And I don't know a single carnivore, like, yet. I've never met one that is weak in the mind, because the stronger the nutrients are in the body, then it feeds that mental health. And that's literally what it is, that allows people to see that they are actually stronger than what they thought they were, right? And it really gives them confidence. But let's back up to a time where I was a vegan. And I still feel like I was really strong. I really didn't feel like I was hopeless or desperate, or it wasn't until my thyroid got sideways that I ever even thought about that stuff. But I will tell you, mindset is huge. It's absolutely huge. So you don't ever want to get to a point that you're throwing in the towel. As a matter of fact, as a coach, part of the things I say is pick up that towel and wipe your sweat. Do not throw it away. Don't throw in the towel. You are strong enough to do this. And yet, as you can imagine, I hear daily, well, I'm obese and I have injured ankles and my knees and I've had surgeries and my shoulders. It's like all day long. And I say to them, and I love this thought process, is that you did your body wrong then, but today you're going to do your body right. So we're not going to focus on what went wrong, the accident. I mean, it could be horrific. We store trauma in our body. Like, it's huge, but it's either going to control you or you are going to have a mindset to control it. And it wasn't until maybe, I would say, like 2 years ago, I decided to stop using the term mindset. And I felt like we need to have a mind shift. We need to shift gears. We need to get out of neutral. We got to get back in the game. As a coach, I'm constantly telling people, when have you ever on any football game, let's talk about the Bulls, let's look at the Titans. I know you're a Tennessee girl. Let me tell you something. Do you think their coach is sitting back going, oh yeah, don't worry about it. You fumbled the ball. Oh, you're going to fumble again? Okay. You fumbled last year, no, they're like, pick up that ball and score the touchdown, right? And sometimes I do get that way, but it's to help other people realize that you do have what it takes to overcome the obstacles in your road. You really do. Mindset, mind shift, super important. And then, of course, from there, your body responds to your thoughts. Most people wake up every day, and maybe Barb, maybe you agree with this, maybe not, maybe you've heard it from other people. They wake up and they're like, oh my gosh, my back is hurting, my neck is hurt. They feed this information to their neuropathic system. And then from there, they follow the direction of it instead. And don't get me wrong, because I have suffered, as I know you have. It's not like we want to wake up and lie. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, okay, acknowledge that you had it, but what about the other 10%? What about the last 2% of your life? What can you do with that? You can shift your mind over and say, today I'm going to focus on whatever it is. If your fingers aren't hurting, thank God that they're not hurting. Your feet aren't hurting, and mine hurt every day. But I go, you know what? My ankles don't hurt. I can still do this, right? You pick up the pieces and you just keep going.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. It's so easy to focus on what's not good, and we just get in the habit of those thoughts that we don't even realize. I think they're really
Yes.
subconscious. And I know Dr. Kiltz is a fan of saying, I'm healthy and well. And I actually have that
Yes.
written on my refrigerator on a marker board.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so that I see that all of the time. So I'm tempted to think, oh, well, I'm not feeling great or whatever, then that's not going to define me. It's a really interesting, it sounds like mental strength may be the place that we are lacking more so than anything
Absolutely.
else.
Yes, I totally agree. This morning I had a conversation with my husband. There was something on the news and he was like, "What is that?" It's like 764, it's like a dark web, whatever. And I was like, "Oh, I think I read something about that yesterday. It's like convincing children to mutilate their bodies." And I was like, I can remember being 5 years old, 4 years old. And he goes, "Yeah, me too." And I said, never once in my life did I question who I was. But we have so much confusion in this world today and a lot of mental illness that I know comes from the bad foods and all of the toxins, the poisons that are going in our body, that I think over time we get run down, mentally run down, like we're just worn out. We have to take the time. I actually teach this in my course, is to schedule a wellness appointment with yourself at least 3 days a week. This appointment is with you. You and I are having an appointment right now. I wouldn't have walked out on you. Why would I walk out on me? So schedule whatever it is. If you like Pilates or whatever, whatever it is, schedule that appointment and show up for it. And I actually tell my ladies and my men, if you don't show up, I want $10 in that jar for not showing up. Now, mind you, a doctor charges you $50 to $150 if you miss your appointment. So I feel $10 is very fair. When you show up 10 times consistently, then you can take what's in the jar and go reward yourself, because we do function off of dopamine and serotonin in our brain. But when our dopamine is too high and our serotonin's too low, we no longer have an attitude of gratitude. But when we are grateful every single day, it makes us remember what is working and not be, I don't really like the term negative Nancy or downer Debbie or whatever, but we're not on that side of the road. We are back on the side of, hey, if this is as good as it gets for you and I, Barb, today, this is as young as we get. We're not getting any younger. Not even nobody is. And nobody's getting out alive. So we really got to focus in on our mind shift, our mindset, and realize it's not too late. It's never too late, ever. I teach everything I do. I teach it in a bed. I teach it on the couch. I teach it in a chair. You can get healthy from where you are. Just start.
So I was in a Healing Humanity meeting yesterday, and they were talking about one of the exercises that you have your clients go through is writing their own obituary.
Yes, I can't believe who talked about that.
Somebody mentioned it. I don't recall her name, but then Lynn also talked about that. Can you share a little bit about that and what's the purpose and the goal of that exercise?
Absolutely. So this started when I was about 25 years old, and I had gone through a course myself. A very amazing woman, Marianne Williamson, she wrote a book called The Course of Miracles and Healing Yourself. And at that time, I was pretty young, didn't have anything on my plate per se. I did have some obesity from pregnancies, but I would work it off and keep going. So anyways, I took this course, and I took the course, to be honest with you, the number one reason why I took it was to help my clients to overcome their obstacles in life. So the very first thing we had to do in this course is write our obituary. And I went home and man, I bawled my eyes out. Every paper had just massive amounts of tears on it. Throw it away, get another paper out. Now we would probably text it on our phone or something. But what it brought me to when I got through doing it, which it took me about a month to get through my obituary, was who was going to be with me in the end. Was my then current husband going to be here? Were those children going to be here? Was their grandchildren, great grandchildren? It is powerful when you stop where you were then and you look where you are today, and whether or not maybe 3 to 5 of those people are still in your life. And if you passed away today, are they going to be the ones to speak of you at your funeral? Are they going to read their testimony, who you were? They're going to talk about the character of who you were. What does that look like? What are they going to say about you? Oh, well, she stuffed her face at every fair and she was fat and she died of liver disease. Like, what's that going to look like? Or, you know what? She was a fighter. She was a go-getter. She helped people. She took care of herself so she could help other people. Like, it's really deep. And then in that obituary, and this is like so critical, did you give yourself full recognition for the trophies on the walls and for the things that, you know, your plaques and that type of stuff? Or did you go out and serve humanity? And this is where Carrie and Healing Humanity and myself, we tied like 100% because it's not just about us. It is because we need to be healthier to be that testimony. But the mess that we used to have in our message today is to get out there and heal. It is literally to heal other people, whether we're gently sharing things, just little tips on, hey, you could try circadian rhythms to get yourself back out of insomnia. There's so many things. Yes, carnivore is I call it the foundation of my house. But during that time, there's no way that we could be building a strong house if we were weak internally. So that obituary changed my life. It took me 30 days. I cried every single time I wrote it because I saw my then 4-month-old baby being maybe 40. Would I be alive when she was 40? And now she is 38 this year. So she'll turn 38 on Christmas. I'm like, okay, I'm still here. Life is still good. But now I look at my 21-year-old. Will I even be on this planet when she's 40 years old? 20, what is that, 19 years from now? I hope so. But if we don't take care of ourselves and we're not strong, I'm definitely not going to be here. So writing your obituary, I definitely challenge every person listening to this, get in there and dig in deep and see what it looks like from those that are going to stand to witness your life. What does that look like? What
I,
does yours look like, Barb?
oh gosh, I got 30 days, right? to get back.
I mean, do you have your childhood friends still, or are you in contact with people who watched you
Yes.
walk through your diseases? And
Yeah, it's really cool. My best friend, Kat, and I celebrated our 50 years of friendship this year. So we met in kindergarten, and it's just really cool. And I have several friends like that that have been lifelong friends, basically. And that is something that I think a lot of people are missing out on now. They just don't have the
100%.
depth of friendships. I know you were talking earlier about 4 and 5 year olds. I don't think that 4 and 5 year olds get to be kids the way we got to be kids. It's a completely different world now, and
Yes.
just the speed of information and all this stuff, the social media and all that garbage. So we didn't have that. And I always joke, man, we would have been so much trouble with cell phones and all that. We wrote notes and passed them around all over the place, but that would have been a really bad thing if we'd had that available to us. But no, I value those friendships, and thinking about the obituary just to put things into perspective, that how we're living our lives, how I'm living my life. I'd like to think that, oh, it's just about me and what I want and has no effect. But everything we're doing is really a legacy for somebody,
Yes.
and our journey isn't just about us. And it's really selfish for me to think that way, that what I'm doing just impacts me.
So in that obituary, I actually birthed another program because I just kept writing and writing and writing it. And I was trying to come up, what is that in age, right? Like, what would be if somebody just said today, how long do you think you'll live? At that time, I knew people that were like, oh, I won't even live past 40. Are you kidding? With the life I've lived, this and that, I'll be dead at 40. I look at 40 today and I think, like, my daughter's 30, I have all in the 40s as well, but I look at that and I'm like, you're so young, right? And yet at 25, I had people telling me, oh, I won't make it till I'm 40. And then now here at 66, I'm like, oh, I give to be 40 again, right? Like, I don't want to redo life again, but 40 is really young. So at that time, I started seeing each decade as a chapter in a book. And so you have like birth to 10 would be chapter 1, 10 to 22, 20 to 33. You get my point. So I started looking, and this is 40, 2 years ago. I looked back and I said to myself, okay, how are those chapters going to play out? And if somebody was picking things from each chapter to summarize your obituary, you know, how that looks, what contribution are you making? What legacy are you leaving? So now in my 6th chapter of life, and having lost a husband in his 5th chapter of life, and this was like a huge movement for me, I started thinking about the fact that people were like, are you mad at God? Are you angry? What does your depression feel like? And I said, to be honest with you, I've kind of looked at us as libraries. We're in the library, like your book is over in whatever section with arthritis, and my book might be over in the thyroid section and bodybuilding section and cross-referencing or whatever. And I feel like we are interwoven for a reason. Like, I really believe that this test becomes a testimony. So if I never spoke to you again after today, you're still in my 6th chapter. And I don't know how old you are, but I'm still in your chapter. What, 55, maybe
Yeah, 55.
54? Yeah. So I am right there in your chapter. But somebody reading your book might go, well, whatever happened to that coach? What did she die from? And if we were in a library, they would go to the library, find my book, open it up, and there would be my biography or whatever, right? So I think it's really important that we really do chapter our lives. And then, I'm not saying write your story, but there's a term out there called C, the letter C, goals. And what this means is that it's something that you truly believe is unattainable, but you believe in yourself enough to go for it anyways. That same, be stronger than you think. So you want to be a billionaire? Be a billionaire. Oh, it'll never happen. Stop the negative thought and think today, what did you do today for your life to move you towards the seagull? Let's just say mine is to have the #1 coaching in the world, right? Like helping people right and left. Let's just say that. I want to touch 1 billion people. If I don't do something every day to move towards the seagull, of course it would never happen. But then people become depressed and mentally ill and upset and no hope. And they just say, forget it. It's not for me. But that's not true. Quit selling yourself short. You are worth it.
Oh, I really love that. And love the concept of looking at our life as those decades as chapters, because sometimes I think in different seasons of life, we can get just stuck in that, okay, this is the same. We're raising kids and we've got all that stuff, or we're working, we're doing all of that. And then not realizing the big picture, not stepping outside and looking at the significance that we have and that our lives have.
Oh, I agree. And so now here you are at 55. In my terms, you would be in your 5th chapter, right? So it's 5 years from your 6th chapter. Today, you have to be working on the 6th chapter, right? You need to have this podcast going. You have a life living. I don't know about you, but for me, empty nester just about rocked me right out of my chair. I was a mom for 40, like active mom for 47 years. And then all of a sudden it's like, who stole my job? Where's the retirement plan? What do I do from here? And it was huge. It was huge for me. I mean, I cried for weeks. I would actually go in the bathroom and I would film the mirror and the toilet. And I'd be like, where's the toothpaste? Why is there no music blasting? Why aren't I yelling down the hallway, turn your music down, you know? But it was a season. And it was a time that I had to go back in and realize they were only parts of my chapters. And now this is a new chapter. And even though I'm on, like, not the downside, but the last side of my sixth chapter, what a great ending it's going to have, because I got my life back. And that's why this name of this company is so powerful, because you get your life back so many different ways.
And it's like you're renewing your life every single day. And that's
Yes.
what living really should be instead of being in this kind of defense mode,
Yeah.
thinking
And
about
I
all
think
this
it's,
stuff.
I mean, Barb, do you think it's fair enough to say that we all have days that we kind of have like self pity, or we're kind of down in the dumps and we're just like, oh my gosh, today's just not that day? I think that's normal and we need to embrace it. We actually can even soak in it. And then after we've done that, we need to go back to our journals, write it all down, purge it, get it out of who you are so that you're clear and ready mentally to start developing the strength. Right now, we're going through a course on developing longevity in my courses. And I have every month we have a new course. Even though you buy the course, all the new courses are released into it. So right now we're working on building the strength of longevity. And what does that look like? And a lot of people are like, especially in a fitness world, it's the exterior of your body. It's aesthetically looking nice. It's going to the mirror and seeing the definition and being like, oh yeah, I'm good. But are you strong? Right. And they're like, well, I can squat whatever amount of pounds and I can bench press whatever amount of pounds. But I'm like, but are you strong? Are you strong enough at 80 years old to carry your own groceries, to not be in depends and be depending on somebody else? Independence. And I have a father who's 94, comes from strong mind. He actually just wrote something. After, I'll share it to you. I'll send you a copy of it. And it was amazing because what he wrote was based off my warrior program. And I was just like, wow, even my parents are listening. I was shocked. But he was like, it's not about all the things of the world that we thought. It was literally being strong enough to be independent and to be able to carry yourself to 100, 110, 120 years old. I don't know if you know this, but my oldest client will be 104 in February. And she does not she goes down to the casino. She still plays her bingo. She is a fireball and she loves life. She said, the only thing I can share with you, coach, is that I wish that my friends would have taken care of their health because I wouldn't be in these shoes alone. Her new best friends are 60 years old. They're not 104. And that makes her sad. And I think about that daily too. I look at my surroundings and my friends from 50 years ago, and I'm like, okay, they're not going to be with me in 40 years. You can just see it, right? Like, I'm not a predictor, but their health is deteriorating instead of getting better. And I do thank carnivore for that.
Something you said made me think that we are going about this the wrong way. We are focused on the aesthetics, the outside, all of that. And that strength is fairly temporary, honestly.
Very.
And we could be in an accident and that's taken from us. But that mental strength, that is something that will endure. So, how do you get people to move from that? Hey, I just want to lose some weight and look good. And not that that is not important. I'm not going to diminish that. And that is a great motivating factor for a lot of people. And I understand that. But how do you get people to shift to realizing that that mental strength, the mind shift is really where it's at?
So for me, I have a couple programs that I've also written tied into this. One is building the future you. So I think it's really important to always have, I don't want to say the next event or the next happening, right? Whether you're waiting for somebody to get pregnant or get married or come home from the army, like whatever it is, I think it's a little bit deeper than that. Instead, it's remembering what you do today affects your body in 90 days. So I'm taking it from like 10 years out to right there in front of you, 90 days. So let's just say holidays are coming, right? And someone decides to cheat on Christmas Day, maybe drink the whole week until New Year's or whatever it is. No judgment here, by the way, guys. Do whatever you want to do. But you're going to pay for that for up to 90 days because whatever's going on in your body today in 90 days, you're going to see the repercussions of that. So in the mind, it's the same way. If you start Atomic Habits and you start building those blocks up, in 90 days, you're going to see a stronger person. So we want to constantly be building mind, body, spirit, this future you. In that future you, I will give you a couple things that I feel is very critical for a strong mindset and then shifting. So the first thing is to remember that when we have enough pain and our body is done, it's going to drive towards pleasure, right? It's going to keep going to pleasure. And something in your mind will go back to the pain. And let's just say an addict, as an example, somebody who does heroin or meth or even just sugar. Sugar is such a drug. They're like, I don't know why it's so painful over here. I eat it, my joints hurt, I gain weight, I feel sick, I have brain fog, and you know the list, right? But they haven't hit bottom to where they start to drive up to the pleasure. And the bottom line is, and if you can get through that pain, you can stop the pain, you're going to start living for the pleasure. And that is where your brain, the dopamine kicks off, the serotonin goes on, and we have this mind shift. It's literally a shift in gears, and we're out of sabotage and we're over to where we are really loving ourselves. So in that course, I teach self-love, self-care, self-maintenance is not selfish. This has nothing to do with being selfish. It has to do with loving yourself enough to have the freedom to love other people even more. Because let's just say for a second that you decided to not be low carb barb, right? Or no carb barb, right? Let's say you just give it up. You're going to start doing things back in there. What would that look like in 5 years? And now you have a grandchild in 5 years. Are you actually going to be pain free? Are you going to be able to get on the floor and teach them how to crawl and play and read stories? Probably not, because you're going to go right back to that painful person that you were before you became no carb barb carnivore, right? So we just have to anchor it. And once we get there, stay steadfast. Do not let people manipulate you off your throne. You deserve it. It's not selfish. As a matter of fact, I'll go say it again. It is self-love. And if you love yourself, I have moms, oh my word, all day long. I have moms going, but Lisa, you don't understand. I've got 4 kids. But, and I'm like, I had 10. Okay. Again, now what is your problem? They'll go right back to it again. And I'm like, but you say you love them and they love you, but you're not willing to take care of you for them. That's so confusing to my brain.
Yeah, I think that somehow along the way, I don't know, the feminist movement, somewhere we lost I don't know, the idea that we need to take care of ourselves, that we suddenly it's like we can do anything and everything for all people and be all things and be that superwoman, but not tend to our own needs. And so I think that for me, that myth of superwoman was a really bad thing because it was like, yes, and I totally agree. We as women can do whatever we set our minds to. However, it was for me to the detriment of some other things that those other things were my self care. So my health suffered a lot because I was just pushing myself too hard to do all of the things. How do you get women to realize that, hey, and men too, but especially women, that they are important?
So I'm definitely a little bit older than you. And I came out as a teenager in the 70s. It was love and peace and drugs and Woodstock and all of this. I never was on that side of the road. I was actually just a little bit young for it, but I have siblings that went through that. So I want to jump forward to the 80s because this is really where I got caught up in the superwoman, right? I was keeping up with the Joneses and like literally my children looked like little ducks when we walked out of the house because there went mama and then they would all follow and they were all dressed alike and it was insanity. I look back now and I'm like, why? Where did that come from? Whose false illusion of life was that? And it may have been Mrs. Cleaver. It could have been the Brady Bunch. It could have been some of these shows influencing us, but somewhere there was a movement. I want to take you back further because I just taught them this morning. I want to go back to when a woman was left without a husband. He went to go find food or he went to go find, he had to go away and fight or find a different place for them to live because the water dried up on their property, whatever it is, they would leave and they never knew if they were returning. They never knew. There was no way to communicate. We didn't have addresses and mails and internet and phones and all. They just prayed. They just stayed busy. And those women are women. They were never obese. They were very fit. They worked harder than any man out there. And they were, if they could manage like working at a local like store, not a grocery store, but like a convenience store almost. If they were doing that on top of raising their children and the oldest child was raising the next child who's raising the next child, we know what that looks like. I would have to say that most of those women had no hope. None. They weren't thinking, oh, I want to get plastic surgery next week and I'm going to have a breast reduction or I'm going to get my skin cut off. They didn't have time to be thinking about self-care, right? Like doing those things, getting facials and massages and really luxury things. All they had time for was to try and fight off the opponent because it was always the enemy, stay alive, find food, try and grow food. Could you imagine trying to grow food with no water? Like that doesn't work very well. They were survival. And survival is where cortisol comes into play. So cortisol, so many people are like trying to diminish it. They're trying to set it down. We don't need it. You do need it. You need it. That is what helps you survive car accidents. If you were jumped in a parking lot, cortisol is what makes your body go into a fight or flight defense mechanism to save your life. They lived with cortisol, but they were fit. So why are we trying to get rid of cortisol when indeed we can clearly look back and see in our ancestral times? Just imagine that you went even further back and you're living in a cave. You don't even have a house, or your children are dying on the roads and you're just putting rocks over top of them and moving on. You want to talk about emotional stress? Like it's nothing like what we're going through today because our child forgot to text us back. Like it's such a mind game that when I look back at them, and I did teach on this morning, I said, you want to see a strong woman? It's not here. This does not make me strong. It's here. It's what they had to mentally prepare for every day when they opened their eyes. They thanked the Lord for the sun. They got the day done and they thanked it and went back to bed. There was no guarantee on anything. None of us have that today either, but we think we have it because we have conveniences and luxury. So if I had one word from then to us, to you, and not necessarily you, but to your listeners, I would say that you want to be strong, you need to start living like you're strong. Don't live as if you're weak. I called it a victim. That's not really a nice word. It's not a pity party. It's truly saying, I went through that in those chapters, but to change is up to me. I have to be the one to change. And then when I can take control of my goals, my mind, my daily habits are so critical in developing a stronger mind. Those are the blocks that make us who we are. And when we get there, we come out stronger on the other side. And on top of it, we end up healthier. So it's a major win, major win.
Well, I can't help but think that those women that had to rely on cortisol for those stressful events, but they saved it for those events. And now I think we just run on cortisol because every event from, oh, I got an email that wasn't great, or I'm running late, or somebody cut me off in traffic, now is that fight or flight response. And we're just like cortisol junkies. And that's not serving us very well.
No, but why is that happening? Why do you think that happens?
I think maybe that we think it's important that in our lives that we are looking at all of those events as everything is like a level 10 importance
Exactly.
instead of the ebbs
Who
and flows.
cares?
Yeah. Yeah. Because most of the things, and if I step back and look at, okay, what was I upset about? You know, I had a bad day yesterday. What was I upset about? Was it really that important? Most of the
Okay, so
time,
I have
not.
another program I wrote, and it's called the 555 program. I'll just share it with you because you just gave me the opportunity to do so. When something like that happens, okay, for example, somebody writes a bad comment on your page, right? Or they don't heart or like your picture, whatever it is. I mean, you're right. It's the most ridiculous things. First of all, we have an idle mind. Our mind is not being productive in those seagulls. But I have a rule, and it's called the 555 rule. So the first whatever happens, I want you to take 5 seconds and say, is this going to matter in 5 years? So that's the second rule. So we have 5 seconds, then we have 5 years. And if it is going to matter in 5 years, take 5 minutes to process it, keep your cortisol under control, and then deal with the situation. It's not that hard. But if you do the first 5 seconds, you're holding your breath, you're counting to 90, you're getting away from it, and then you stop and you look at it and you're like, how foolish am I being? This is not going to matter in 5. I won't even remember it tomorrow. I will not remember it tomorrow. Do not waste 5 more minutes of your energy on it. Let go. Just let it go. And I'm pretty sure you probably know Mel Robbins. I absolutely love the Let Them. I wrote a program that says Let Me, and it actually is for carnivores, because it's like, you're so busy in my business is why I'm not eating pie and cookies and Oreos, and oh my gosh, you're going to die. You don't get enough cheese and this and that. You know what? I don't say anything to you about you going to the fair every year and eating all these pretzels and elephant ears and fried ding dongs, and let me, right? And I'll let you, period. Let them and let me, because we need to be left with our own thoughts. This is where that mind strength comes back in. Quit giving the power away to other people. Take it back, reclaim it, build your obituary, and focus on you, the future you. Who do you want to be? What do you want to be? And to be honest with you, I am a carnivore coach. I help people get their macros and their calories and the fat grams and healing and the proper amount of blood work, what the blood work rates, all that. I do all of that. The package is huge. But my passion is helping them to become stronger. At the end of the day, I want them stronger mentally, physically, and spiritually. And when I say spiritually, some people, it might be Hindu, it might be Muslim, it might be Catholicism or born again. It doesn't matter as long as you have the peace inside of you. So you're not shooting that cortisol through the roof nonstop. You learn how to have control and don't allow people to push your buttons and send you over the edge, which happens really easy these days. Mental health is huge.
Oh, I love the 555. That's brilliant. And the Let Me and all the other things that you've mentioned. You are inspired to write a lot of different programs. Where does the inspiration come from?
Gosh, if I was to be completely honest, which I will, I'm definitely Holy Spirit led. And I feel like even this whole entire program got here because of that. I'm not a doctor. Like, I'm not here to give medical advice to anybody. But when the doctor looked at Kenneth and what was going on with his liver, I even said to the doctor, I go, you're not going to like me, but I'm going to throw it on the table. And then at the end, he whispered, I'm a carnivore doctor. And I'm like, what? He got it. What are the odds of me being in his care under a PCP that's by Blue Cross? Very, very, very high. That wouldn't have happened. It happened. And then from there, I literally could have, I love to write, but I would not necessarily been written these type of books. I have a stack on my desk right now that is probably at least 42 more programs that will be released in 2026. And each of them is to make you stronger. That is literally, I couldn't have picked a topic that didn't fit me any better. And that's because, yes, I love having a strong body. I want to be able to get up and down the stairs without hanging under the rails. 4 years ago, I couldn't. Now I can. As a matter of fact, I can jog up the stairs. That's a huge thing when you've not had knee replacement and you've had knee issues, hip issues. But I think not only to be really, really strong in your mind, your body has to be able to have endurance. And that is where the VO2 max comes in. That's where our longevity training comes in. Some people call it HIIT. Some people call it sprint. There's like different names. I have actually written my own workout programs as well. And I've been doing them. Well, I took a break because I got sick and I used that as an excuse. That was not an excuse, but I used it. I even got to a point that I was so heavy that I actually would just say, well, I'm a rancher's wife and I'm just burly and buff. I bought it. I bought my own lies. Who does that? Right? I think a
All
lot
of
of us
us.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So with that being said, I knew I needed to detoxify my own brain along with my body and come back and truly be true to thyself. That's where my inspiration comes from, is just knowing that we have a higher calling. It literally is like you said, we don't need to be worried about people cutting us off. Instead, pray for them. You don't need somebody making you mad in an email. Just send them back a kindest email as you possibly can. Smother the world with love, and you will have love from inside of you. But if you come in ready to fight, no, I'm strong and I'm burly and blah, blah, that's not going to work. It's not going to work for your own intimacy in your own home. And it's definitely not going to work out in the world at all. And you need to be strong enough. Like, marriage is not easy, right? Two imperfect people trying to live a perfect life. We're keeping up with the Joneses. It's not working. Financially, you're not going to own every new boat. You're not going to have every new camper. You're not going to get every new Dodge Dually. You have to learn to have that peace inside of you. But if this is wiry and it's out of control and it's chemically imbalanced from the liver, you are going to ultimately fall apart because you just can't keep that stamp. We were never designed to be like that. We were designed to work hard, to have grace, love each other, and do our best. Like, literally, that's what it comes down to.
I can't think of anyone who makes a more perfect coach than you because, and when I say perfect, everything is right, but you have been through so much. You have 10 children.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
have,
two bonuses.
yeah, you've lost a husband, gained a, I
Yes.
mean, you have been through so much. You've been through illness, and you've taken that and harnessed that and made it, as Emily Penton, I'm sure you know her, is fond of saying, made it your superpower.
Yes.
And I think that that is probably the best thing about your coaching, because if people can see that, people will step back and listen and look instead of saying, well, oh my gosh, I have all of this stuff, and realize that, hey, you've taken adversity. And no, you weren't Pollyanna and said, oh, it doesn't matter, but you've taken it, and that has made you stronger mentally and has inspired you to be stronger physically and to move on. And I think that's so important. I think people need to have hope.
Yes.
And
And blind faith.
yeah, and seeing someone who has been through things and is living every day, is getting up and doing the things, is looking at the future. I think that's so important. I do want to ask you one thing because I can't imagine how hard this would be, but I know you lost your husband, and then when you and Kenneth were about to be married, you discovered he was in liver failure. What was that like, having already lost someone so dear to you, to go through that with him?
It took me, well, okay, so we weren't married yet. We were 2 days before our marriage when he was diagnosed. Just moved to Arizona, just got to the property. All the guests were arriving, and somebody yelled out, Lisa, we need you. We need you. Come right away. Hurry, hurry. It's Ken. It's Ken. And I was obese. I fell. I fell a couple times trying to get from the house to the barn. He was on the back side of the barn. They said, we think he's had a stroke. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, he was just in great shape. What are we talking about here? Right. Went to the hospital. He had a grand mal seizure, and they couldn't connect the dots. They didn't feel like there was anything wrong. They sent him back home. They said it's the desert, dry, dehydration, whatever. We got in the door in this very room where I'm sitting, and within 7 minutes, he had two grand mals back to back. Ambulance comes, gets him. They take him back, and he had another grand mal on the way to the hospital. And they kept saying, well, we can't figure out what it is. And I said, well, can we do like some ultrasounds? I mean, some scans. They're like, yeah, we've looked at his brain. It's all fine. And I was thinking, I don't know. I like literally Holy Spirit led. I was like, I don't think it's his brain. I think it's something else. So, we're all Googling, right? You're on Google, you're trying to research, figure things out. And the one thing that did come up was dehydration over and over. And then I was thinking, okay, I was sitting in the vehicle with him. We drove 8 hours. Like, I saw him drinking his water. I know he has fluid in him. It still was not adding up. So, anyways, they decided to keep him overnight, kind of me pushing, but there was still the 2020 COVID stuff going on. So they were like, you can't stay here, is basically. I said, well, can I stay downstairs? They said, no, you can't stay on the premises at all. So I came home, and we weren't married. Everybody was here at the house. It wasn't unpacked. It was a disaster. And I literally spent the night in prayer, and I was just like, what is it? What organ is failing? What's going on? And God literally showed me it was his liver. And then when we went back and they did the ultrasound and they gave me the diagnosis, I was on my knees with about 8 other people. And I just said, I can't do this. I literally was throwing in the towel. I said, I just can't do it. I cannot bury another person I love. This is like too close. Because it was only a year and a half from Eric passing away, way too raw, way too fresh. And so as I was praying, it was amazing. My daughter came over to me and she said, Mom, you are strong enough to do this. And if God has called you to the altar to do this, you will do this. And so I stood up, got my big girl panties and dug in. And here we are today, almost 6 years later. We went ahead and went through with the marriage. We weren't going, I told him, I said, I don't want to do this. It's too much on our plate. Let's just wait. And he was like, heck no, this is definitely happening and happening tomorrow. Right. So yeah. And he works out 5 days a week. He's still carnivore. He doesn't drink. He doesn't have anything but water. Like he's amazing. And it's phenomenal when, again, that pain pleasure, he had hit the bottom of the pain. And he looked at me and he said, I'll do anything to be alive, to be able to celebrate marriage with you. And I don't want to leave the kids. And then I was like, well, you know what you got to do. And we did it, man. We went like, there was no people go, well, how do you gradually do it? I'm sorry, I can't gradually die. We need to do this today. Life or death is before us, and we're going to make it happen. And we did. Like, we cleaned out this house, the kids. We said, look, you want it, you pay for it, you buy it, you eat it somewhere else. Please do us the best. Do not bring it in this house. He was never a bad eater. He was a kind of a Mediterranean type guy, but he was living on chicken and rice, low fat and high carb, just a disaster. And I was a kitchen sink vegan. So whatever was not me, I ate it. Yeah.
That's
Eye opening.
it's an incredible story and a beautiful story. And I love how, not how it has ended, because you guys are going and
Yes.
you have the future in mind. So I know we're running short on time and I would love to talk to you forever, actually. But I have a question that I like to ask my guests. And I know you've been interviewed like a million times, but is there a question that you wish someone would have asked you?
A question. So I don't think I have a question. Well, let me break this to two parts.
Okay.
So you said we still have a lifetime, right? And we do. But there's a statement that I make on every podcast, every day. I tell it every morning when I teach before I walk off the floor. I say the same thing. Remember, if I die today, do not blame the meat. Okay. I think this is critical that we get this message out there. I don't care if you've been carnivore 15, 17, 25 years and somebody goes, oh, they died because they were carnivore. Stop blaming the meat. Show up at my funeral and you just bring your banners, bring a celebration, whatever you got to do, and say, let's have a ribeye for Coach today, because that did not kill her. It was the years before, the stress of this world, the crazy of this world that potentially would lead me to my death, right? So that's the first thing. So it's not really a question, but it's a statement and it needs to be said. The second thing, and this is a question that I feel is completely avoided, male and female, in the whole entire carnivore arena and outside, like ketovore, like wherever people are at in your journey. I think it's really important that we talk about intimacy. We talk about libido. We talk about vaginal atrophy, that we talk about the vaginal vault. We talk about ED. These are things, whether you are married or not married, that everybody just wants to avoid. You're not dead. So stop acting and loving like you're dead. Interact with each other, put your cell phones away, take time for whether you call it Sunday or Sabbath or whatever your belief is. Put your phones away, get back, as we said in the beginning, this to belly, belly love. It is so critical. Like, I could say I love you all day long, Barb. I would love to come see you if I'm in Tennessee again. I'm sorry we missed our opportunity to talk before, right? I could say all that, but until we wrap our arms around each other and you know that that's truth and that's friendship, what else is there? So I feel like some of the questions or the statements is that we need to be real with people. We really need to talk about honesty, sincerity, truth, be raw and real. They say truth and transparency. I like raw and real. I think that the more I could cry right now if I start thinking about certain things that I omitted in my lifetime. It doesn't make up me a bad person. It doesn't make me a good person, but it made me a numb person. And we need to learn to be alive. We only, like, if today's it, if today was your last day, did you live it to the fullest? So there's a question for you. If today was your last day, how would you live it? Are you living it to your fullest? I guess that's probably a really good question too.
That is an excellent question. Yeah, another one of those, take time to mull over the answer. But honestly, that's like every day at the end of the day, you say, well, what would my obituary be today? If we really got
Yes.
down to it, what did it look like? Did I really live? This has been just absolutely fantastic. So, Lisa, what do you have coming up and where can people find you? And I will put everything in the description.
Okay, I can also send you some links and that kind of stuff,
Okay.
but
That'd be
just so
great.
that everybody knows, it's lisa.pickart@lifebacksystem.com. Shoot me an email. I'll set you up a calendar appointment. Our first appointment is free. It's 45 minutes. And then if you become a client, you have that access for 15-minute consultations anytime you need them. You get my cell phone. I'm not going to give it out over social media, but you will have my cell phone number as well. And I have to tell you, the greatest, well, not the greatest program ever written, but I have a new program coming out and it's releasing in a week and it's called C30 and it's Carnivore 30. So if you've ever heard of 75 Hard, this is Carnivore Hard. So I wrote this program like specifically, I want to give you one quick stat. If you have ever done 75 Hard, 1% of the world finishes that course, 1%. And 94% quit on day 4, just to give you how false illusion that one is. And then even the 1% that finished the 75 days, the very next day, they sat down and went back to eating what they eat. They didn't change any habits. They didn't break any habits. They didn't create new habits. They just challenged themselves and completed it. So I said, I need to write a carnivore challenge. So it's called C30. And in C30, we have 5 basic habits that have to be done every day. We have 5 carnivore beliefs that have to be done every day. We're going through a mindset shift over 30 days, 5 days a week. I read to you 3 pages out of a book that I wrote, and it's the 7 basic habits of a carnivore person. We're going through that in a very condensed, fast version. You have homework you have to do and 2 workouts a day, a half hour each. Now, one of the biggest places where 75 Hard fails is that you have to do it outside. So I decided I want to make this something that people can accomplish, because when we accomplish things, we get the dopamine hit, our mindset changes, and we're like, wow, I feel good. So we will be doing it on a Zoom. So we'll be all 5 days a week doing 30 minutes in the morning on Zoom, and then, well, in the evening. And then in the morning, I'll be doing my normal teaching 5 days a week. There's a check-in, there's tracking, there's journaling, there's the obituary. It is amazing program. And don't quote me on the price, but I think it's $299. It might be $249. Don't quote me on that. It's an easy peasy. You could redo as many times as you want. You own it forever, but it's powerful. And I have poured my heart and soul into this one program for 30 days for a year. And I just perfected it to a point that I'm like, we're not going to have failure, because I want you to have success, whether you're laying in a bed and you can't even lift that 300-pound leg, right? That's where carnivores, a lot of carnivore people start, either through sickness, they can't gain weight, they can't walk, they have massive problems, MS, all kinds of diseases, or they have obesity and they're in bed and they really can't swing their leg out of bed. It's hurtful. So I want people to be able to accomplish this, not because you're an athlete. That's not the goal. The goal is that you transform yourself over the 30 days to have a mindset to say, I'm never, ever going back to carbs, ever.
That program is a tremendous value.
I hope so. That's my goal. My goal is to get out there and keep touching lives. And on another note, and you're right, we do have to go, and I don't want to take up all your time. How are you feeling about adding these carbs back in?
Uh, no, and it would be so hard to change my name, and have all that. So I am not even tempted. Just personally, I have autoimmune issues. I'm very sensitive. I can't even do seasonings. So
Me
no,
neither. None.
not even tempted. Like, does not even entice me in the least.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same as you. It's going to be no carb coach over here. promise you that. I will be walking that road with you, Barb. Like, there is absolutely no way. And I've thought about it. I'm like, okay, don't say it to where somebody's going to make you eat those words in 5 years. But I'm so sensitive. Like, my GI tract is so in tune right now that even if I was to go get like smoked, I can't have smoked pork. I can't even have a smoked turkey. Like, literally, I can do nothing. And I love it. I love that I have this little menu. I eat off of it and life is good and it's all good. Thank you so much for having me, Barb. This has been a real pleasure. I look forward to getting to know you better as well.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I really appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Take care and God bless.
You too.